Been a long time, but welcome back to Big Apple Hockey. I am your host for tonight. I know I've been kind of a ghost lately. It's me, John Fulkowski, aka Filk. I've been kind of had a hectic schedule, I guess you could say, with what's going on with work with me. But yeah, I felt it was a good time. I had some time and some energy to do another episode of what you know as the Final Buzzer. So, big win tonight for the boys in blue. But let's get down to it and let's go through what we obviously all know as the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's going on, Sean? What's going on, everybody else? Rangers fans, everybody in Rangers town. Yeah, it's a big night for the Rangers, beating up on the rival, 6-3 victory. And all is good in Rangerland. The Rangers have actually clinched second place in the division. Pittsburgh, even with their win tonight, can only get 8 points. So that would put them at 107 points. So if the Rangers lose all these final 4 games, they still have second place. So they can go for the division, but there will be some obstacles with that, as we have learned tonight. So let's get down to the good part first. And with the good, and obviously, follow me on Twitter at 92and82, and then join the Facebook groups, www.facebook.com/group/Big Apple Hockey, as you can see, and the ticker at the bottom. But the second line dominates. And Andrew Copp just had one hell of a night, a natural hat trick in the first period, the first one since Kelly Kissio in the first period. Amazing. And it's funny because Kelly Kissio was the last full-time wearer of the number 11 in a Rangers uniform before Mark Messier. So that's just a little interesting tidbit to throw out there. Adam Graves wore it for a game in the 91-92 season opener for the Rangers, but immediately gave it up to Mark Messier upon the trade that brought him in. So, Panarin with 4 assists, Copp with a natural hat trick all in the first period. Artemi Panarin had a game where, as all the great players can do, when they just take over and impose their will upon another team and control the game and have the game all in their hands. And Artemi Panarin did. He did whatever the hell he wanted to the Islanders tonight. They were his toy to do whatever he pleased with. So Artemi Panarin decided to put on a passing clinic and now has a career-high 96 points in a single season. One more than his previous best of only in 69 games back in the 2019-2020 season, his first with the Rangers. If this is a down year from Artemi Panarin, I want to see him at his very best again, because this has kind of been a down year, but these last few weeks have really shown what Artemi Panarin can do, and it's just amazing to watch. So, yeah, and it's funny you mentioned this, David. Copp is looking to set himself up on his next contract with his play with the Rangers. He cracked the 20-goal mark. He's got over 50 points on the season. He's well over a point per game as a Ranger so far. So, amazing acquisition there. Everest, you kind of allude to it there as well. Got to keep all the deadline additions. Hopefully they'll find a way to do that. So, yeah, it's probably the most quiet 74-assist season in NHL history, as David points out. Artemi Panarin climbing the ladder. He's 4 points from 100, and it's 4 games left. And knowing how Artemi Panarin can rattle off 2 3-point games on a whim, this 100-point season is very doable. And if he does so depending on whether Mitch Marner gets to it before that or not, or anyone else. But Artemi Panarin would be the 7th player in the NHL to crack the 100-point mark this season, as Matthew Tkachuk broke the 100-point mark tonight with his 40th goal of the season for Calgary. So 6 players in the NHL with 100 points already. This is the most in a while. So Toronto, Chris T got smacked by Tampa Bay tonight. Rich, I will get back to this question a little later on in the Q&A section of it. David, Artemi Panarin could sneeze and get an assist. Yes, he could get one in his sleep if he wanted to. But Panarin was just dominant tonight. That second line was awesome. Strome got a goal. Copp, obviously. 4 goals from that line. 4 goals. So, Kaprizov got to 97. But, he could be another one that hits 100 points. Be crazy. So, if Kaprizov and Panarin both have 100 points in a season, it would be the first time that 2 Russians, Ovechkin and Malkin, Ovechkin and Malkin with their 100-point seasons in 2009. It would be the first time that 2 Russians have gotten 100 points in the same season. And Mark is right. I've always believed in Gallant. It just, some of his lineup decisions have really baffled me. So, but I mean, that's going to be with a lot of coaches. We're going to have that. So, David, this is the most, you know what? I'm not going to talk about this yet. I'm actually going to bookmark this comment from you, David. So we're going to get back to that in a little bit. But I'm going to move on with the Rangers here. Kreider's 51st goal marks the 3rd highest single season total in New York Rangers history. He breaks the tie with Vic Hadfield, gets his 51st goal. Just amazing to think about that Chris Kreider, and it's another power play goal. Sean, I just saw your most recent comment about Panarin. Bookmark that. We're going to talk about that a little later. This is amazing to see what Chris Kreider is doing. He's having an impact on a play every night. That line was good. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too. But hey, John, your boy had a night. So we're going to talk about that actually right now, funny enough, because the first line also had a really good night. First line overall, I thought played really well. Chris Kreider could have had 2 more goals. Frank Vatrano hit a post. Mika Zibanejad was really good at both ends of the ice. His 2-way play has been really good lately. So I like to I love seeing that. This is a great comment here, and I'm going to stop right now. How great was it to hear Sam Rosen say Kissio, Mullen, and a Grodnik one more time? Because that was actually a good line back in the day. That was a little before I started watching, but I know a lot of people, a lot of Ranger fans who were watching around that time that loved that line. So, and a Grodnik was a very good scorer himself, and he not only was a good Ranger, but he was excellent in Detroit with Steve Yzerman. So Grodnik was a 50-goal, 100-point player in Detroit. So, but a throwback there. So, but David, it was a good goal too from Kreider. Yeah, I mean the rebound as he gets leveled, and it was a bring your lunch pail type of game, and Chris Kreider brought his lunch pail on that play and got the goal for it. So, but yes, Mark would say this: 89-90, poised for glory, and then some man named Bernie Nichols came along and helped out, and that led to a big trade that helped the Rangers ultimately end their drought. And as we know, that's the Mark Messier trade. So, going to get back to the Rangers themselves, though, the current day Rangers. And like I said, I brought up lunch pails because the Rangers responded very well to the Islanders' chippy play. The Islanders were missing guys, but they still brought the physicality, and the Rangers responded well to it, went right back at them. Jacob Trouba mixing it up with Oliver Wahlstrom. Barclay Goodrow even got in there for a second with Zdeno Chara and kind of like held him off from getting involved in that. Keandre Miller was physical, which I liked. Jacob Trouba, obviously, we talked about. Ryan Lindgren getting involved in the physical play. Everybody brought their lunch pails. And I thought this was a good, it wasn't the best defensive game, but it was a playoff type game in terms of the physical play and the intensity. So I do like that they responded the way that they did to the way that the Islanders were bringing the physical play. So, my next one would be about Alexis Lafreniere's play. I thought he played very well. I thought he brought his hard hat. He set up Ryan Reeves on a very, very, very nice play on that 3-on-1. But I thought his overall game was really good. This is the type of game you want to see him play. And it would be nice if he could break the 20-goal and 30-point marks by the end of the season. I don't think those are happening, but you never know. So his play as of late has been much better. So hopefully this it carries over into the playoffs and into next season. So this is what you want to see from Alexis Lafreniere. And then Keandre Miller, over the last 10 to maybe 15 games, Keandre Miller has been one of the team's best defensemen. He's actually been really good. There's a certain level of confidence he's playing with right now. And I love seeing what he's doing because it needs to continue. And I keep saying, continue. And then each game he comes out and he plays solid. Okay, the first goal, him and Trouba were a little lost, but I think the entire team kind of got lost defensively. And then the Brock Nelson goal, the second Nelson goal, I'm putting that on Georgiev because he should have stopped that shot. It squeaked through. So, but Miller and Trouba, I thought Trouba could have been a little better. I didn't think he was terrible, but I think he could have been better. But I thought Miller was solid. So, and this really comes down to it right here from David. Ever since Gallant got him to stop, to use the body and stop stick checking everything, he's been 100 times better. And yeah, he has, and that's a big thing for the Rangers because Keandre Miller, when he's not doing that and he's playing the body, I think that he is just a tremendous defenseman when he wants to play like that. And he's been playing physical, which is another thing. And listen, I'm not going to ask Keandre Miller to be Scott Stevens. I don't want him to be Scott Stevens. I want him to be Keandre Miller, but I also want him to use his body more and use his strength and ragdoll people around like he can because he's one of the in any game, he's going to be one of the top 3 strongest players on the entire ice for both teams. He's going to be that guy because he is just massive. He's ripped. He is just strong. He's an ox. He's as strong as an ox. So I want to see him use his size and his strength to advantage more. He doesn't have to necessarily put people through the glass all the time like Larry Robinson on Gary Dornhofer, but use your body more. And the fact that he's not stick checking and waving at players is just such it's a marked improvement. Yes, pun intended there because he's still in the chat here watching and commenting. But there's a level of confidence to Keandre Miller's play that we've been waiting for. And yes, Sean, another one. Sean says he feels like Miller is going to stand out in the playoffs. He's got confidence. He's dangerous on the rush. Good team coming up clutch. You know what? If Keandre Miller just keeps doing the little things right and playing well the way he has, he's going to be a vital contributor for them in the playoffs. So I love what I'm seeing right now. I just hope it carries. So, Lippy, I saw your comment about Vetrano. I have marked that. I will answer that in the Q&A part. The bottom 6 brings their lunch pails. I thought that the bottom 2 lines played well. I thought all 4 lines played well. But the bottom 6 all brought their lunch pails, and they were ready for physical play. Filipino was playing physical. Alexi Lafreniere was playing physical. Barclay Goodrow, Revo, Rooney, Hunt, everybody brought the lunch pails, and they were all playing great down low in the trenches. I thought that the cycle game was really good from the bottom 2 lines, and the bottom 6 got the point there on the Revo goal set up by Lafreniere and Goudreau. So I really thought that they were a good part of why they won tonight. They just kept bringing the energy each shift, the physical play. They were responsible defensively. This is what you want to see from a bottom 6. And they're missing a couple of guys. They're missing Kaapo Kakko. They're missing Tyler Mott. Andrew Copp, we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. But, yeah, I like what we were seeing for the bottom 6, and I like that there's depth and there's options, and guys like Greg McKegg and Julian Gauthier probably won't be playing any sort of minutes in the playoffs. So, but that is all from the good. So
that's good.
We're going to move on to the bad. I didn't have anything that's in the ugly section, but in the bad, shutout streak ends at 200 minutes and 43 seconds. And you know what? You knew it was going to end. It sucks, but you know what? It was good while it lasted. They got a little sloppy against the Islanders, and that's really what it was. And that actually ties into this. The team defense overall was sloppy in the first period. Or after the first period, I'm sorry. But yeah, I thought that they kind of loosened up a bit. They had that 3-goal lead. They absolutely routed them in the first period, dominated them. And then the second period, they got a little too sloppy. The second goal, like I said, I'm going to fault Georgiev on that one. He should have had that shot. Really should have only been 6-2. But again, a little sloppier after that first period. So want to make sure that they're playing a full 60 minutes of consistent, smart, and tough hockey. So let's hope they get back to that next game. And then the last thing that I have in the bad, Copp hurt. Status for Saturday uncertain as of right now. They're saying lower body injury. I tried to see what Vince Mercogliano was saying about it. I'm just not seeing a whole lot. But hopefully we'll have some word by then. And hopefully he's all right and ready to go. If not, rest him. You know what? If they win the division, great. If not, I would rather see my guys healthy than worry about winning the division. It's too much to worry about someone being hurt. So hopefully Filipino missed a big portion of the end of the game too. So that's another thing. Filipino hurt. Got to make sure that he's okay. We need them at 100%. So hopefully they were just taken out for precautionary purposes, and they're not going to be out for a while. But you know what? If Gallant sits them on Saturday, okay, and you know what? There we go. Right on time, John Lee. Time to sit some guys. If Gallant sits Hedl and Copp on Saturday, okay, fine, no problem. I'd rather have them healthy. It would suck, but sure, I understand. Rather would have them healthy. But like I said, no ugly. So we will go on to the comment section here. I will go through the ones that I bookmarked. Rich asks me if I believe in Gallant. I've already addressed that, actually, because Mark commented. But yeah, I've always believed in Gallant. It's just some of his lineup decisions were quite baffling, including playing McKegg over some and Dryden Hunt being in the top 6 for as long as he was. Part of that is due to depth and personnel, but yeah. So I do believe in Gallant. Never did I not believe in him. I just questioned some things. So, yeah, David, I'll have to, if that means getting players rested and making sure that that everyone's healthy heading into the playoffs, I could live with that fourth line too for a couple games as well of Hunt, McKegg, and Gauthier. So yeah, I'll live with that. We're going to go back to the comments that I have bookmarked. David says, I guess the NHL was really looking for more scoring. They got their wish. Yeah, this is the most goals scored per season. I think it's 6.1 is the amount of goals per game scored across the league on average. That's the most since 95, 96. So it's the most in about 26 years now. Lippy, I'm not saying that Gallant is bad at filling out the lineup card. I'm just saying that some of the decisions he made were very baffling. Some, not all, but some. So I do want to be clear in saying that. And we're going to unstar that. Going to get to Sean here. Sean says, I thought earlier of where this team would be without Panarin, basically. Yeah, Sean, that's some dark thoughts there, buddy. I don't want to think about life without Panarin right now. So, Lippy, you asked me what my thoughts were on Vatrano. He hasn't looked great on the top line the past week or so. I would disagree with you there. I think he's looked good there. Just because he's not scoring in bunches doesn't mean he's not playing well. I would like to see Lafreniere there, and I would like to see Vatrano on the third line. I think that someone needs to go down. They're not going to send down. They're not going to send Andrew Copp down to the third line like I wanted them to originally, because I thought that would have helped out that third line immensely. But he's playing so well with Panarin and Strome. You literally can't break that lineup. You can't. It's their best line right now. So, yeah, I think that I would like to see Lafreniere on the top line and see Vatrano on the third and see how that helps that line out, because I think Vatrano's speed and grit could absolutely help that line out. You can move Philip Hedl to left wing, or Barclay Goodrow could play left wing or right wing, or wherever you want to put Vatrano. I think there's a lot of flexibility between the positions on that line. So, Everest asks if I think Mott's back for the playoffs. He's supposed to be. So we're going to have to keep tabs on that, but Mott is supposed to be back for the playoffs, Everest. And I will get back to live comments here. So that's all the bookmark ones. Yeah, Lippy, earlier on in the year, Hunt being in the top 6 was awful. Do agree. David, I agree with this. At times you rely too much on veteran presence. Yeah, and his refusal to not play or to not bench Nemeth was just, annoying, to say the least. Sean says, makes Igor's play that more impressive. He truly deserves the heart, even though probably going to go to Matthews. I don't know. If Matthews would have broken 60, I think so, but I don't know if Matthews is going to get it. I think Huberdeau might, and you can make a real strong case for McDavid, because Edmonton is nowhere without McDavid. David, I do agree with this as well. Vatrano's been a little unlucky with the puck. So, John says that he expects Cobbs to be good for the bottom 6, but him and Brett have exceeded expectations. Yeah, this is spot on. Just spot on. So, David saying that Gallant has said that all players should be back for the playoffs, but who knows if that's smoke. The second Islanders goal, I don't want to say that it was completely Vatrano's fault. Zibanejad was out of position too. I think everybody kind of the second one was actually the one that squeaked through. So it's not the second one; it's the third one that we're looking at here, Lippy. That I would put that on the forwards, because Miller and Trouba both had their guys. So the forwards were kind of jumbled around. Zibanejad was out of position up high. Vatrano had to be down low trying to get Bailey. And that was the guy that Mika Zibanejad should have had. And Mika played a real good game defensively, but there was definitely a glaring miscue on that play by Mika. So I will I'm not going to kill Vatrano for it, because that's not really his guy. It's not. Mika's got to the center has got to be the third man down low, and he wasn't. So I'm not going to kill Miller or Trouba for that. I'm going to blame that on the forwards. You got to be in better positions. So they kind of got crossed up there. But yeah, this has been a good night for the Rangers. Looking at some scores from around the league, Pittsburgh smacked Boston 4-0. So the Panthers smacked the Red Wings 5-2, as well as Sabres smacking the Devils 5-2, but 4-0 for Pittsburgh, and then Carolina winning 4-2. The Lightning absolutely obliterated the Maple Leafs 8-1, and Calgary beat Dallas. Like I said, Tkachuk got his 100th point, 40th goal, and Andrew Mangiapane putting on some points and goals there in Calgary. But yeah, Hurricanes managed to come back to win 4-2. Yeah. And David, this is actually a really good comment because there's something I noticed that happened actually twice tonight. They scored, and then the Islanders ended up scoring the next shift. So they got a little too loose and sloppy right afterwards. So you're right. And I've always said this, the most important shift is a shift after you score a goal. It's how you respond. It's so important. And honestly, you gotta have better responses after you score. Like even when you score a goal, you've got to come out and you got to play hard that next shift. And they just didn't too many times in that game. So thankfully they were able to hold on and win 6-3, but that should have been a game where the Islanders scored 1, maybe 2 goals at most. Not 3 goals. Yeah, and yeah, Mark coming in. Yeah. It's something I've always said. So you've gotta have good shifts after every goal. You gotta even if you're the team scoring them. So, and David, you're right. It's an old hockey saying. It's an old hockey saying. So after a goal, you've got to have a good shift, no matter if you're scoring it or if they scored it on you. You got to come back with an answer, because the other team is going to come back and they're going to try to dictate the tempo and the play after that. They're going to punch back. It's all about how you respond after getting punched in the face. It's how it is. Because everybody says that they're crazy until they get punched in the face. And that's when you respond. So I know it's kind of a violent description or analogy, if you will, but it's the truth. It's the truth. We've seen it in sports. So yeah, really, and yeah, you also don't score on shots you don't take, or as my idol would say, you don't score on 100% of the shots you never take. The man was right, and that's why he scored 894 career goals, the most all time. Some guy in Washington is trying to chase that number. So, yeah, I love that saying. I do. I love how Michael Scott, Steve Carell in The Office, ended up kind of rebranding that a little bit. Thought that was hilarious, but yeah, we need they need to be better after that. So, and yeah, John, this is actually a really good comment here from John Lee. Strome for an inconsistent year has 20 goals, 20, and that's a career high for him. So, kind of a really like a up and down year for him, and he's still having a pretty good year. I think a big part of it is Artemi Panarin's resurgence. I mean, even before the trade deadline, he was starting to play a little better. And then Andrew Copp came along and just changed the entire dynamic. Like, what a pickup. What a pickup. He might be the best trade deadline pickup that this team has had in outside of Marty St. Louis. He's the best trade deadline pickup they've had in years. Years. So I don't know if I keep Vetrano. Especially over Strome. Because if Vetrano is going to cost somewhere in the range of 3-4 million, I think I'd rather cut funds elsewhere, run with Lafreniere, Kakko, and Kravtsov on the right side, and let Vetrano go and keep Strome so that Copp, Strome, and Panarin can stay together because that line is ridiculous. So, yeah, the Jets fans are hoping for that first-round pick. I don't know if they're going to get it, but they're hoping for it, Barrett. You're right about that. So, David, yeah, you have the right to think that the St. Louis trade was bad. I would disagree, but yeah, I just think that it's tough because without Marty St. Louis, they don't get past Pittsburgh. They don't. I hate saying this, but it's true. Marty St. Louis' mother passing away was a rallying cry, and they rallied around it, and that was the reason why they won that series. I don't have any other reason as to why they could have beaten Pittsburgh. Lundqvist was amazing, but just that galvanized that team. That was the galvanizing moment that a team needs to get past a big foe like they were in 2014. So you could say it's bad, but they don't get to the Stanley Cup Finals without Marty St. Louis without that trade. Everest asks, how far do I see us going in the playoffs? So I think they can win a round. I don't know about 2. I don't know about conference finals. It'll be tough. Not exactly sure, Everest. I wish I could give you the answer there, but I don't have that. Don't talk to me, David. I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, but let's not talk about the remainder of the 2014 regular season. I don't care about that. I don't care about what Callahan did because Callahan didn't do anything in the playoffs because Callahan did not do anything in the playoffs for his career. And that's it. Callahan was nothing in the playoffs. He reverted to a guy that was more like a fourth liner in the playoffs. He didn't give you offense. And Marty St. Louis was the team's leader in the playoffs in 2014. But that's it. There's nothing. What's going on, Cord? But yeah, the McDonough trade, much worse. I'm with Mark there. Much worse from Ryan McDonough. And John, yeah, you kind of said it here. The only thing bad about that trade is they got 2 playoff runs and not that. Yeah, okay. But here's the problem, David. You're not convinced that the 2 firsts and the captain was worth winning the cup. And yeah, that's a lot. But honestly, do you think that they beat Pittsburgh or Ryan Callahan? Because I know they don't. I know they don't. The Game 4 goal in Montreal, which I was there for, and the overtime winner. Marty St. Louis not there. So who scores that goal? Who scores that goal? It's Ryan Callahan's not doing that. Ryan Callahan is not bolstering your top 6. Ryan Callahan was not that guy. I just think that we're oversimplifying things here. And if you think Ryan Callahan was going to make the difference in the playoffs, I would implore you to go back and look at what Ryan Callahan did in the playoffs as a Ranger, and then go look at his runs in Tampa Bay because he didn't do anything. He wasn't a great playoff player. And here's another thing. He wanted $6.5 million. He wanted over $6 million. And he wanted a full no move clause for a guy that his body just ended up breaking down like I said it would at that time. I said he was gonna break down, and it was. But you know what? I can't tell right now that they didn't make the right move by getting Marty St. Louis, because Ryan Callahan was done. Ryan Callahan was done as a Ranger when he refused that deal and just basically told Glenn Sather that he wanted $6.5 million to play in New York. That was it. His time as a Ranger was done. And instead of getting nothing for him, and then, you know what? The trade itself, bad on paper, but with the surrounding circumstances, I make that deal. I make that deal. Yeah, and it sucked not having 2 first-round picks, but you know what? You got a guy that was a difference maker, and he was the difference. Oh, and if you win the cup with him, that's regarded as one of the best trades in Rangers history. So, and they were that close. If Dwight King actually gets called for goaltender interference in Game 2, that's a 1-1 series heading back to New York. And then everything changes. Everything changes. Everything. So, yes, and here's another thing. Name a player out of those 2 picks. Name a player with those 2 picks. That's like if anybody asks me about who was the player that Columbus took with that 2012 first rounder, or 2013 first rounder, rather. They took Kirby Reichel. Yeah, one of them was Josh Ho-Sang. One of them was Josh Ho-Sang. And is Josh Ho-Sang, or even if it's Anthony Beauvillier, is that making a difference right now? Is that making a difference to this team? Come on. We're crying over spilled milk right now. Really? It just doesn't make any sense. Marty was a difference maker. You know what? Yeah, I get it. It's a lot to give up because he only wanted to come here. And yeah, you know what? Yzerman absolutely took Gorton to the woodshed. But, or not Gorton, but Sather, rather. I mean, you could say Gorton, too, because he was involved. But Yzerman got what he wanted, and yeah. But the Rangers got to a Stanley Cup final, and had things been a little differently, we're not even having this discussion right now. We're not. So I think the Tony Amonte for Brian Noonan and Stefan Matteau trade was far worse than the Marty St. Louis one, because at least the Rangers got a superstar player who was, at the time of his trade, one of the top 3 players in scoring in the NHL. So yeah. And yes, please like, share, and subscribe. It would help out the channel greatly. We would very much so appreciate that. So, got some nice things coming forward with the website. I know I've been talking about that for a bit, but just be patient. I do apologize, but we will have some more good content coming up. And the website's going to have some good stuff on it. We're going to write articles on there. And we'll have, some special things, special types of articles with, certain content on it and whatnot. But we will have stuff for the website. And definitely want you all to click on that and check that out when it comes up. But we will keep you all informed. So, I don't agree with the Yandel trade being bad. I mean, John Moore, it's really just kind of a third pairing puck mover. Doesn't really put up a ton of points. I mean, losing Duclair sucks because now he's a 30-goal scorer in Florida. But you know what? where would he be? Where would he be right now? So, yeah, I'm probably going to go another, I would say, 5 more minutes or so. So make sure to get your comments in. But yeah, it's been a really good night. Yeah, but you lose Duclair with Buchnevich in the wings. Buchnevich ends up being a real solid player. I'm not going to get into that deal either, just because it's been beaten to death. The horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. So, this is a bad deal too, because Elias Anderson ended up being a complete bust, and Tony DeAngelo, obviously, 50-point defender with the Rangers, and then 2 years later is just sat for a year, sat for a half season, but yes. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Neg Type 13. A great night here, and Andrew Copp, big night for him, but yes. The deadline acquisitions have been great. So, imagine Sammy Bland, the team. Mark says, yeah, I do. I would love to see Sammy Blade back for the playoffs. I don't know how possible that is. I mean, if they win a round, I think it might be possible because usually ACL is about 6 months. So, and May would be 6 months from when it happened in November. So, yeah, the trade wasn't bad. It's just how it ended. Yeah, part of it is ended because of how it ended because of with how Alain Vigneault refused to use Keith Yandel on the power play, which is what the brass brought him in for. This is how I don't get sometimes how guys like Alain Vigneault are as high up in the win column as they are. But then again, I look at the Sedins and the teams that he had, and then I remember why they got so high up. So Alain Vigneault, clown show status. Killjoy says, let's go Rangers, and then says there's no room for Blaine Kako right now. It's insane. You might have a point here, Killjoy. Living up to your name in a sense, but you also have a valid point. Core says that when I met Sammy outside the Garden, he said his recovery has been going faster than expected, so I don't know what that can mean for him, but hopefully he can be here for the playoffs at some point. Would love that. Yeah, David Luongo and the Twins. That's why I said, I look back at the teams that Vigneault had in Vancouver, and then I know why Vigneault has the amount of wins that he has for his career. So, sure as hell it wasn't his coaching expertise. That's for damn sure. This guy has done nothing when he didn't have a Hall of Fame goaltender to work with. I mean, like in Montreal and in Philadelphia, the results were average for him. So, well, actually, they weren't great. So, I'm not saying you should be expecting to win with Jocelyn Thibault as your starter, but at the same time, like Barry Trotz has one of the best records of all time, and he really has done some quality work in Nashville for all those years with some meh kind of rosters. He got a lot out of players he should have never, like Martin Erat and Greg Johnson and Steve Sullivan. No offense, Steve Sullivan, who was actually a really good player, underrated one too. But yeah, so Barry Trotz, got to give him a lot of credit. So maybe the Mike D'Antoni of hockey. I like that one. Very offense. Both of those coaches are very offense oriented. They seem to have some good teams over their careers because the front offices put good teams together for them and just never got the job done in the big moments. So I like that one. I really do. But I am going to end for the night. I thank you all for joining, especially as late as it is. But I wanted to get this one in. It's been a while. The last one I did, it was after the Ottawa win. I was just looking at the banners that I had filled out because they stay in there. But yeah, so the last one I did was the Ottawa win. And I'm very happy that I got on to do this because it's been a while. I've missed this. And I'm still trying to work on getting a new laptop. So this way I don't have to do it from this crappy camera angle. And some other stuff too, like a microphone. We're going to work on that. Mark and I and Anthony, we're going to be trying to get together and get the band back together, all three of us together. So we will try to figure that out. But hopefully that'll be soon. And again, thank you all for joining. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel out greatly. And I appreciate you all. Everybody, have a good night. And as always, let's go Rangers. Or as Jaromir Jagr would say it, Dot the Rangers.